Not too long ago, I put up a post on Craigslist, asking to either sell or trade my fish tank for a smaller one. I put in my phone number as a contact source and asked to text only. After a couple of hours, I got a text from someone who was willing to trade. We agreed to meet at a Walmart in a couple of days when we were both free to do our trade. During those days, the guy kept on texting me, involving a small talk. He asked about my name, where I worked, etc. And me being foolish, answered all his questions. I used Craigslist often, and I had never really had a bad experience with anyone, so I never really thought this guy was weird. I saw him more like friendly. I told this guy what car I drove and what college I went to, again never really stopping to think of what kind of info I was giving a total stranger. When the day came to meet this guy, he told me he could only meet me after 10 p.m. I thought that was odd, but agreed to meet with him anyway since my poor fish were already stuck in a 5-gallon jug. So me and my boyfriend drove to the Walmart at about 10:15 and got there in about 20 minutes. The guy texted me and said he was already there in an old yellow Camaro. I replied saying, "We are here too in a gray car." He then texted me and said, "Who is we?" At that moment I realized something was really off with this guy, and I replied saying, "My husband and me." That was a lie, but I felt like he should know I wasn't alone. He never responded after that text. My boyfriend and I went around the parking lot a couple of times looking for a yellow Camaro, but we never found it. I tried calling the guy and he ignored my calls. We decided it was best just to leave. I don't know what would have happened if I had met that creep by myself, or even with my boyfriend there, but I have a feeling it would have not been something good. I removed the post from Craigslist that night and saved the creep's phone number just in case he tried contacting me again. A couple of weeks later, I got a text from several different phone numbers asking about the tank. I never responded to anyone because I believed it was the same guy since I for sure deleted the post immediately. I hope he can't somehow track my phone, and of course I'm not using Craigslist anymore.
Number 2.
This happened about 2 months ago. The night before the invasion, I hadn't gotten any sleep because my friend was visiting for my birthday and snored like a train. So I was absolutely exhausted for the next day. I went about my day, but that night I changed my routine because I was super tired. Usually I would sleep until 6 a.m. just doing things, taking a shower, whatever I felt like doing. I live in a student housing, and because it was the summer, it was only me and my other housemate, who I will call Drew, living there. Now I'd like to mention that my room door is very stupid sometimes. You have to push on it extra hard for it to actually close. Sometimes I would think it's closed and locked, but the reality is the door is locked, but it's not closed. Thus it can be pushed to open. This has happened to me before where I would wake up to Drew entering my room. I was lucky that night that the door wasn't being stupid. Anyways, my bedroom is close to the kitchen, so I can hear everything going on outside of it. That night, I was in some very deep sleep, because usually any noise wakes me up. I remember vaguely hearing cabinets being opened and closed, and the jiggling sound of my doorknob. I thought I was dreaming all of this. I didn't think too much of it until later. At about 6 a.m., I woke up to the sound of my phone going off, and the first thing I read is a text from Drew saying, "Police are coming." After reading this, I'm wide awake. Me, why? Drew said, "We've been robbed." I thought this was odd because why would Drew be texting me? Why doesn't he come and knock on my door? I honestly believe this was the robber texting me. I know, stupid thought. Waiting for me to open my door then attack me. So I told Drew to tell me something only I would know, and then to come knock on my door. To which he did, and I was so relieved to see him there. Then he tells me what happened. Let me tell you that Drew is a very promiscuous guy. He wanted some action at 5 a.m., so he decides Craigslist is a great idea to find somebody. He ends up finding somebody, and they decide to meet at our home. Drew gives him our address, but last minute the Craigslist guy tells Drew to come to his place instead. So that's what happens. Craigslist guy gives Drew his address and tells Drew to be there in 15 minutes. Somewhere in this conversation, Drew tells Craigslist guy that he has a female roommate at home as well. From my past experience with Drew's partners, they always seem to ask if other people are at home. Anyways, as Drew leaves, he doesn't lock the front door, and he never locks his room door either. Drew goes to the location, but the guy never answers the door, so he comes home. When Drew came back home, he notices the shoes by the front door in the wrong place, and certain things in the kitchen look weird. He enters his room, and it's a mess. His valuables like his laptop are gone, things are scattered all over, etc. He calls 911, but the police cannot do anything because it's a student housing. We don't have cameras. Turns out Craigslist guy was a burglar. Turns out I didn't dream of those cabinet sounds or the jiggling doorknob. It was that guy going through my home. Not too sure what would have happened if my door wasn't being a proper door that night. I feel like I'm super lucky that I was so tired and did asleep that night, because if I wasn't, I would have stupidly walked out of my room and asked Drew what he was doing, only to find out it wasn't Drew. Thinking it was a home invasion would have been the last thought of my mind. I wouldn't have been armed, and I definitely would have been froze up. Who knows what other intentions the guy had. Needless to say, the thought of everything that went right makes me feel so grateful, but thinking of what could have gone wrong unsettles me. I think I was lucky. I wonder if Craigslist guy would have broken in the front door if it wasn't left unlocked. He couldn't have known Drew was going to lock the door. Drew locks it sometimes, so he probably was outside the moment. Drew gave him the address. There were 2 locked bedrooms in my home, mine and my other roommate, who didn't move in yet. The other rooms didn't have tenants yet, so they were left wide open by the landlord. Do burglars usually enter locked bedrooms? I think so, if their intention is to steal, which his clearly was. I guess he didn't know which room contained me, so he didn't want to risk running into somebody. Who knows? All I know is sometimes people get murdered from Craigslist meetups. I get paranoid being home alone now, and I have Drew to thank. Lock your doors. Don't use Craigslist for hookups. And if you do, don't be like Drew. Be smart about it. So Craigslist guy, let's never, ever meet again.
Number 3.
This happened last year, around this season, while I was broke and struggling to make ends meet. I had just moved out and didn't want to resort to going back to my parents. Anyways, I was so desperate, I was looking on Craigslist for caregiver or housekeeping type gigs, just to make quick cash while I could look for a full-time position. After responding to several, I got a bite back from a man who had advertised as a disabled man who needed help with his morning and evening routines, since he had a bad back. As a past caregiver, I thought nothing of his request to help with bathing and dressing, since I knew it could be difficult for some. After chatting on the phone, and coming to the conclusion he was nice and normal, I proceeded to head over to his townhouse late one night to help him with his nighttime routine. He lived a bit out of the way from me, but I was desperate and didn't mind. He even said I could spend the night since he'd need me in the morning anyway. Once I got there, he was a decent-looking man in his late 30s or early 40s with a cane. He paid me $200 up front for the unexpected nighttime and morning routine. The next day, he explained he was ex-military and had had back surgery recently. Things started to get weird once he offered me some wine and commented on how cute he thought I was. I should have seen that as a big red flag, but again, I was super poor, but I didn't want to cheat him, so I gave him the benefit of the doubt. He then led me to his bedroom, where he got dressed for his evening shower. I was horrified since I saw that he was already had a giant erection and wanted me to lather him up. He asked if I wanted to take my clothes off, and I declined. He responded respectfully, however. He did touch my butt when I bent over to pick something up for him. I should have ran out right then and there, but I was waiting for the right moment. After quickly giving him the most unsexy shower in the most platonic way I could, he got out and said he was heading to bed, but didn't want to wear any clothes. The guest room was where I was to stay, was right next to him, and though I was tired, I was still pretty on edge. My gut instinct was telling me to get the hell out of there. The issue was that we were on a 3rd-story townhouse, and we were on the top floor, and he had installed baby gates on each floor so his cat wouldn't run away. Also, he had turned off all the lights on the lower floors, so it was pitch black. In order for me to get out, I'd have to pass his room. I quietly arranged my stuff in my purse while I heard his TV blaring, and to my horror, I saw him walk swiftly to his bathroom without his cane. I realized he was not as disabled as he told me, since he had previously put on an act if he couldn't walk without it. He also still had his heart on, and was holding a giant bottle of lotion with him. As quickly and quietly as I could, I fled and ran like hell out of the room while he was in the bathroom, and jumped like an Olympic sprinter over the cat's gates down the stairs. As I threw the front door open to run to my car, I heard his house alarm go off. I got into my car as fast as lightning, heart beating like crazy. I immediately got phone calls from his number, and every car that tailed me had me terrified until I got out of there. Finally, after a 2-hour drive, I was back to my place, and grateful I was out of there. Who knows what could have happened if I had stayed overnight, but I did not want to find out. Hey guys, thanks for watching that video. I said I was going to start uploading a lot more, and I haven't uploaded in the last 3 days when I said I was gonna, so I just want to say sorry for that, guys. The upload should start coming in at least once a day now. I just wasn't feeling too well the last few days, felt a little bit unmotivated, but yeah, you know, I like doing this. All my videos get soft monetized, so it's not like I'm making even anything on them, which is, you know, is totally fine with me. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoy the videos. If you guys want more, leave a like and a comment, and I'm also down to do collabs, so if you guys do these type of videos, you know, comment. I always respond to almost every comment, so yeah, I hope see you guys next time, and yeah, thank you guys.